The Brooklyn Nets are a monster. I mean, if you don't like superstar teams, if you don't like guys coming together to try to win a ring, you probably already hate the Nets. And then that level of dislike is only growing with each game because after blasting the Celtics out in the first round, sending Danny Ainge packing, making Brad Stevens quit coaching, they're now doing the same damn thing to the Milwaukee Bucks in the second round. And the thing about that is it was not supposed to be this way. The Bucks swept the Heat in the first round. And if anybody had exercised any demons in the first round, it was the Bucks and not the Clippers. Milwaukee was tough. Milwaukee was now tournament tough, battle hardened. They were going to take on the Nets, and this time they were going to be ready. And not that anybody's rooting for injuries, but the Bucks' job got that much easier when James Harden left game one a few seconds into that game. And yet somehow the Nets still win game one. All right? A little surprising, but whatever. Maybe they were running on adrenaline and some emotion after they lost James Harden. Or maybe it was Blake Griffin going for 18 and 14. Or the fact that the Bucks missed a ton of shots. Whatever it was not going to happen again. The Bucks were going to make their adjustments. Then they were going to come back, and game two would be a totally different story. And, of course, it was a completely different story. Brooklyn, 125. Milwaukee, 86. Like, holy crap. You want to talk about a hospital job. You want to talk about a hospital job on national TV. Brooklyn did not just beat Milwaukee in game two. They humiliated them. They snatched their souls. They carved their heart right out of their chest, showed it to them, made them eat it. Brooklyn came out and immediately jumped out to a 36-19 lead at the end of the first quarter. And as I tweeted last night, they had every bit the look of a team that could win it all, even without the beard. They came out, they punched Milwaukee in the face, knocked them down, proceeded to stomp on their head, and it just kept getting worse and worse. Brooklyn led by 49 at one point. 49 in a playoff game against a team with the two-time defending league MVP, and in a game where one of their own MVPs didn't play at all. I mean, if you're putting up those numbers, Harden can just sit on the sideline, sucking down gigantic smoothies, and then pick up his ring in a few weeks. And what about those adjustments that the Bucks made? I'm not exactly sure what they were, but if you're losing by nearly a nickel in a playoff game, I'm going to go ahead and say that those adjustments did not work. If your adjustments leave you losing by half 100, then you're going to need to adjust those adjustments. And you remember when that dude could not even jump over a piece of paper like 5 minutes ago? This dude looks like he can jump over cars again and print posters. Hey, Blake, man, I know you're feeling it, and you do look great. Just don't go ruining it by breaking your hand on some intern's face again for some stupid reason. Just a reminder. Thing is, this guy's not just dunking on guys. Somehow, some way, he's actually holding his own against Giannis defensively. I mean, who saw that coming? Answer: nobody. And it's not like it's just a matter of Kevin Durant being unreal and dominating everybody and going for 50. I mean, the guy is unreal, and he was dominating everybody, but he only went for 32. Of course, he did go for 32 by going 12 of 18 from the field. In other words, you're not going to find an easier 32 ever. Not when he's hitting 66% from the field and 66% from the three. And it's not just a matter of KD getting a few open looks and knocking them down. He's working guys off the bounce as well. He had the freak on him outside the three-point line, put the freak through some paces, and then blew right by him for a bucket. Again, we're talking about a 7-footer doing things like that. Like in another era, he's banging with Wilt in the post, but in this game, he's taking guys off the bounce. And if you think that Kevin Durant isn't feeling pretty good and pretty confident about his game right now, Durant's not alone. The Nets have a split line. Check this. A split line of 50, 44, and 91 in the postseason. As a team, right? They're hitting 50% from the field, 44 from three, and 91% from the line. 50-40-90 is a legendary club. You have to be an incredible shooter and scorer to get in that door. The members are one-name guys like Larry, Dirk, Steph, Kevin. Oh, and the only four-time member, the guy who's coaching the Nets, Steven, Jay, Nash, OC. So you've got to be at that level to get in that club as a player, and yet the Nets are doing it as a team right now. It's freaking absurd. Who cares about your defense if you're hitting those numbers? I'm going to go out on a limb right now and say that if the entire Nets team goes 50-40-90 the rest of the way, the entire Nets team is leaving with a trophy. In fact, all the trophies. What I'm saying is it might be time to throw some respect to the Brooklyn Nets because they're not just good. Man, they're scary good. But more importantly, they're better than everybody thought they'd be. I mean, maybe you don't want to pose that question to Kevin Durant because we saw what he does with it. But the fact is, they're not supposed to be this good, not this quickly, and not with those personalities. I mean, let's be real. KD, Kyrie, the Beard, these are three pretty unusual dudes, except it's working, and it's working really well, like stupid well. And yes, all of this does come with the caveat that all Brooklyn did was hold serve. And yes, I know a series doesn't start until a team loses on their home floor, and losing by 39 is really the same as losing by 1, blah, 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 blah. Right. Except all those cliches, that's all for a normal series. Nothing about this feels normal. The Bucks haven't just lost the first two games. The Bucks have lost their identity in those games. They had turned themselves, or so we thought, into this tough, hard, battle-hardened team over the course of the year. Except none of that is showing up when they need it. None of it has shown up so far. In fact, they look completely lost right now. They only committed 12 fouls last night. Now, I'm not saying they need to be out there going Rick Mahorn on everybody if they can't win, but feel free to put a hand in somebody's face. Feel free to put a hand on somebody's face. Committing 12 fouls is either a sign that you dominated a game or guys were blowing past you all night long. And in this case, it is the latter. Not only do the Nets not fear the deer, they don't even feel them at this point. And Milwaukee better change that fast. Like, I know Chris Middleton is going to shoot the ball better. I know Drew Holiday is going to have a bigger impact. I'm just not sure any of that's going to matter. This feels like the start of something really scary, and not just for the Eastern Conference, but for the entire association. I'm not saying you're wrong if you hate these guys. I'm saying chances are you're going to hate them a hell of a lot more than you do right now pretty soon, because it seems like it's going to get worse. And it seems like it's going to get worse because they're only going to get better. And again, they're doing it without James Harden. Are they better without this guy? I'm saying they're dominant without this guy. And they've got a pretty scary look about him.